History Talk with Smith Co. Hello and welcome back to History Talk. Today we're going to be talking about the GAA, or Gaelic Gaelic Athletic Association. Sorry, the should be placed on the top of that. So, when English invented sports like cricket, soccer and rugby, I should mention soccer is technically not English invented. It's English transferred. So the English took soccer and brought it into its more modern day form. So obviously it's, evolved since then. But soccer, or football as it's known in other places, is not technically an English sport, just saying. But anyway, so then when they began to spread to Ireland in the 1980s, nationalists decided that, well, they may as well set up the Gaelic Athletic Association to protect and develop actually distinctive Irish sports. After a relatively shaky start, the GAA became very successful as a sporting organisation in the early 1900s. You see, the one issue about this is that from the start it's infiltrated by the IRB. These are fit, young athletes, and they're looking at them thinking, well, they're just the kind of people you need for a planned rebellion against the British rule. You see, the issue is there, once again, sexism strikes the rule, and they're mostly men. Actually, men, all. So, many of these GAA men, like Cathal Brugger, would later become involved in the war against the British in 1919 to 1921. So, the Gaelic League is another section that the IRB begin to infiltrate. So, in 1993, when Douglas Hyde gives a talk in Dublin, a talk, by the way, which is called The Necessary of De-Anglicization of the Irish People. Sorry, The Necessary of De-Anglicizing the Irish People. It arouses great interest. A very short time later, Hyde and Owen MacNeill decided to set up the Gaelic League. Now, the aim of the Gaelic League is to revive the Irish language, to develop a new literate in Irish to foster Irish music, dance and customs. Now, Douglas Hyde was elected president of the league. One thing, though, Douglas Hyde was a Protestant. I mean, he was a nationalist as well, but he was Protestant. So he did have many unionist friends and relatives. So he wanted the love of Irish to act as a bridge between nationalists and unionists, because unionists wanted to have this connection with Britain, but not all of them were British. Not all of them could consider themselves British. They just wanted to have that connection with England. So, if you didn't necessarily go, oh, we're against Irish or anything like that. It was just, well, we're just against breaking the union with England. So, at first he is successful. The league spreads all across the country in the early 1900s, and both unionists and nationalists actually join it. Both involved into the league, however, begins to cause a problem, because this strengthens nationalist belief in self-governance. They thought the British government were indifferent to the language, and only an Irish government which controlled education could stop Irish from disappearing completely. A fact which later was proven false. Not necessarily false as in if they had an Irish government then the language wouldn't disappear, but simply because, even though when they had an Irish state, they kind of made a hames of it. Didn't really succeed in doing anything there, but well, what can you do, I guess, when your, main people that came up with the idea are then cast aside. Anyway, so this opinion alienated unionists, and most of them decide just to leave the league. So the problem is the IRB also infiltrated this league. It won recruits amongst the members, and in 1915 they were able to change the constitution of the league to make it support a republic, which was of course kind of foolish. because Hyde then resigns as president. Now, there's an impact of the Gaelic League. The Gaelic League has a massive impact on Irish history. While the GAA helped to recruit members, the Gaelic League is a massive help to revive the RB. Young men like Bunner Hobson and Sean McDermott are won over to extreme nationalism as a result of being within the Gaelic League. Between 1910 and 1912, Hobson and McDermott took over the Supreme Council, which is, by the way, a very, 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 very strange name to have. It just sounds kind of like, you're putting yourself up there on a pedestal, and it's like, just don't like Supreme Council. Just doesn't. I mean, that's his name, but anyway. So they built a more active movement than what was beforehand. So in 1910, few nationalists were actually separates. By 1918, separates were strong enough to actually defeat the Home Rule Party, which we'll see in the future videos. So many of the leaders at this moment, well, they start out as members of the Gaelic League. They include Éamon de Valera, who, if you've watched other videos of mine, don't really like him that much. Michael Collins and Cathal Brugger. And they also include many others. Now, one of the main people who is involved with the Gaelic League at this time is Padraig Pearse. Padraig Pearse joined the Gaelic League at 16, and he learned through it to speak and write Irish. He's considered a somewhat emotional man. He tended to adopt a cause with great intensity, and then when it tended to disappoint him, which many causes tend to do, to move on to a new enthusiasm. But the Gaelic League does not disappoint him, clearly, because he continues to, love and devote his time to teaching and writing Irish. He trains as a lawyer, but as I said, he did become a teacher and writer of Irish. In 1903, he became editor of the League's newspaper. And then, further on, he works very hard at the newspaper, publishing news items, stories and poems in Irish. And then he believes that a good paper would convince the Irish to actually learn Irish. But while many are very interested in Irish, few shared Pearse's all-consuming enthusiasm for it. They were not willing to put in the hard work actually necessary to learn more than, a few words of Irish. And, because it's more than that, though. I mean, learning a language for some can be easier than others, but for some can be incredibly hard. And especially for some adults. Some adults, it's just impossible to learn a new language, because, your language acquisition device is just off. You just can't, because the minute you learn a word, it's gone. And obviously that causes a bit of problems. But obviously you've got younger people, and younger people are able to learn a language far easier. Not actually teenagers are actually, teenagers tend to be the same as adults, but from 4 or 5 onward, you got around this time that acquisition device is going to turn off, but you've still got a bit of time left. So Pearse decides to turn his attention to this educational system. Now, he criticised its limits in the curriculum and frequent examinations, and often fears corporal punishment. The problem, of course, with schools at this time is massive. Frequent examinations don't help. If I tell you, we're going to have a test now, tests make perfect problems, because you have this issue, which is you are testing someone, but you're testing someone's memory. You're not able to. So if I test you now, number one, you have to remember under pressure. Number two, if you haven't been, able to remember things, you have to then suddenly remember all these things at once and learn these things. And a lot of the time, people will forget. I mean, you'll see this in education. A lot of people will remember. They'll study for their, university examinations or their school examinations, and they'll learn them off, and they'll get the result they'll get, and they'll forget everything else. They'll forget most of the things that they will have done. Now, obviously, that's an issue with freaking examinations, that's pointlessness, there with examinations. Then you have the limited curriculum. It was quite limited. And also, at this time, corporal punishment. In my country, corporal punishment is legal now. It may not be in yours. I mean, if it's not, and you're a lawmaker, I would advise you do make it legal, because corporal punishment tends to kind of breed a little bit of an issue, which is if you've got teachers being able to beat people up and they're not able to do that to an ordinary person on the street, well, where do you think people who are sadists are going to turn? They're going to turn to the place where they're legally allowed to beat people up, if you're not allowed to beat people up in the general public. Anyway, Pearse decides to do a little thing, and he decides to create a different version of education. And that might have actually been a great help to Ireland. Because right now, that is, obviously corporal punishment, I've said, is gone, but freaking examinations, still very much there. Anyway, so next video we'll be talking about Pearse is sort of, his dream becoming somewhat of reality. So we'll talk about that in the next video. Please do join us then, and please do subscribe to the YouTube channel and view other videos, because that does help. And I guess the question is, will you be coming back next time? Because if you don't, and you don't look at other videos, well then, I guess I'll have to say bye-bye, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of your existence. Please do subscribe.